Welcome to Crafty Little Beach. This is Julie. Today I have a Dollar Tree DIY for you. I wanted to see if I can make a fairy garden wreath. So I'm going to use one of the foam wreath forms from the Dollar Tree and one of their fairy garden houses. I chose this one because it was the thinnest one from front to back, so I thought it would work well here on a wreath. I'm just going to use a Sharpie to kind of measure out where that's going to be, and I started carving like a little opening to sit it in. Now, a knife might be a little faster than this. I was trying to not cut too deeply though, so I'm using one of those foam cutters there from the Dollar Tree, one of the fun noodle cutters. Those work really good for foam in general. This foam though is pretty sealed, so it takes a little bit of carving. And so I just carve that out, but I also want it to be fairly flat so that I will be able to glue the house in there easily. I don't want it to fall out or anything like that. It's not super heavy, so I think it's going to be okay. Maybe a few more trims here in the middle so I have more area to contact with it. That looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and add some hot glue, and I'm going to sit it in there sort of centering it where it sticks out as far in the front as it does in the back, which isn't very much with this cute little house. How cute is this, right? And I like the fact the colors are not super bright on this, but we're going to add all kinds of fun spring to this. While it's drying, I went ahead and added some hot glue to the front and the back to seal those in. Definitely giving this time, letting the hot glue set up. And I went over it with a little bit more too on the front, and then I'm also going to do it on the sides. You won't be able to see that in the end, but I think it's really important to go ahead and attach your house first like this, and carving the little opening for it made that so much easier to get contact and let that hot glue dry. Now for the fun part, we're going to cover the entire wreath with reindeer moss from the Dollar Tree. And I want to cover everything you're going to be able to see. So I'm going to cover the front, the outside, the inside of it. And I'm just using hot glue. I've seen other people use tacky glue to attach their moss, and I guess that would work. It might be a little bit more durable outside, but I've had really good luck with the hot glue and the reindeer moss, using it even on outdoor wreaths. I'm going to use this probably as an indoor wreath just because it's kind of small, but I think it'd be really cute on a front porch as well, right? And I am just tearing the moss into pieces that are fairly flat so I can add it on there. I like the little bit of variety in color. I've noticed some of my packages are a little bit brighter than the others, but I am not going to be mixing any other kind of moss in it today. I'm just going to be doing the reindeer moss, at least for this fairy garden project. So I just worked my way around. I wish that Dollar Tree had a larger foam wreath form like this, with people talking about a price increase at Dollar Tree. Hopefully, hopefully they will get bigger ones. But it's a cute size, and it works really well for a wreath for a door in your house. I have one this size to my guest room on a little command hook, and it looks really cute on an indoor door. I just go all the way around. That looks pretty good for the first round. And then I found it was a little bit easier just to turn it over to do the outer edge and to do the inside. I really don't have much to add here, but I want to make sure that even from the sides, you're not going to be able to see any of that green foam through. And the fact that the wreath form itself is green does help. If you can see in between any of the moss, it'll all kind of blend in together with the green, right? And what I want to do is give this like fairy garden vibe. So we already have the fairy garden house. We have all of this great reindeer moss, and then I want to add a few other touches to give it the fairy garden feel. I'm not going to be adding any actual fairies to this DIY, but maybe she's home in her house, right? And maybe a little bit here on the inside just to make sure that you can't see any of that green. And this part of the wreath is almost complete. That looks pretty good. Now it's time to decorate this. Before I get too much further though, I do want to go ahead and make a hanger. I'm just going to use a piece of twine, really easy. I'm going to feed that through the moss and just knot it here at the top. Super easy way to hang this without really interfering much with the fairy garden feel of this. The twine matches in well with the moss. Okay, now for the other fairy garden I'm going to add to this, I'm going to add a little welcome sign. I think they have a couple different varieties of these. I think it's a great scale for this, and I can put it on the side like this. I wanted to add at least one more fairy garden piece to this to give it that fairy garden feel, but I want to decorate a lot of it with spring florals and items that really remind me of spring. So I just attached that with hot glue to the moss, pushing it back far enough so it does get contact with the foam wreath form too. And I wanted some yellow flowers, and I didn't really have any tiny ones from the Dollar Tree, but this greenery from the Dollar Tree did have a little yellow flower at the very end. And so I'm just going to snip those off, adding a little hot glue to the stem and gluing those down into the moss. They're not super bright, but they're the right scale. And then off this greenery with the onion grass, these have butterflies on them. And I thought a butterfly would be a great touch for this. So mine's a little bent up. I'm going to give mine a quick iron with my heat gun and attach this to it as well. It's so pretty. Look at the colors. I think these have gotten a lot better because I've bought these on the onion grass in the past at Dollar Tree, and they weren't quite this pretty and detailed as that butterfly. I really love it. Then for flowers, I'm going to use these little tiny flowers from the Dollar Tree. These are pink. The great thing about these, there's double petals on there, and there's a little notch on the top and a notch on the bottom. So if you just snip them off, they are going to stay on there, but I'm leaving a little bit of a stem on there because I can add some hot glue to glue that down into the moss. And I just scatter those all over. I thought some baby's breath would be really pretty too, but this is kind of a smaller scale wreath, so I'm going to actually cut the baby's breath into individual branches and add them separately like this. So just adding a dot of hot glue to the end of each one of these and adding these to the wreath. Now, have you guys ever seen, there's like a hot glue well that you can put hot glue in where you can like dip items into it? I've often wondered if I should get one of those for crafting. If you guys have one, let me know. I think that would be a fun thing where you can just dip items into and add them with hot glue. It'd be a little bit easier than using my hot glue gun for this. But I want to scatter these all over. I think that gives it a really pretty vibe. And this DIY was so easy to make. A little fairy garden wreath for spring. The bright colors with the pink and the yellow flowers. I love the butterfly on there. That's a fun touch. If you don't have a little fairy or anything to attach to it there. And the little fairy garden house, I think my fairy is just home. She's got the door closed with a cute little welcome sign as well. Would make this great for an entryway. Isn't this so cute? I really love how this one turned out.